Hey there, I thought I'd like to show you one of these handy little storage boxes. Now this one's a little bit larger than what I normally make, but they're really handy. I've got one in my kitchen which I keep all my phone charge cables and plugs, etc, so they're all in one place. They're handy in the bathroom, in the bedroom, if you go camping, in the caravan, whatever, and particularly next to the settee in my living room where my husband's got all his bits and bobs. Everything he leaves lying around goes into one of these. So if I find whatever, a screw or a biro, whatever, all gets chucked into the box that's at the side of the settee where he sits. So they've got lots and lots of uses, and they particularly make really good Christmas presents. So you could fill things like this with toiletries, cotton wool, makeup, flannels, whatever, from a cheap shop, and put tissue paper over the top, put a label, just pin a label to it, and they make amazing presents. So anyway, I'm going to show you, there's the inside, I'm going to show you how to make this. So not for this size, just slightly smaller. I've cut out 2 circles. Now you could do this out with card, but I've used like an interface or a stabilizer rather to do this with, but you can use card for it from a cereal packet or whatever. Now you want 2 circles for this project. You want the larger one, which is 8.5 inches. Okay, 8.5 inches in diameter, so 8.5 to there, or 21.7 centimeters if you're metric. You want another circle cut out slightly smaller, and that would be 8 inches or 20.5 centimeters. So basically this circle, the smaller circle, is going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than the large circle all the way round. Now for this one I used a starter plate out of my dinner set, and then what I did was I cut out 2 in this size, and then I just measured all the way round 1/4 of an inch, joined it all up, and then cut it out so that I've got the larger and the smaller one. Right, let's put the smaller one to aside for the moment. So with the larger one, you are going to cut out 5 circles of your outer fabric. So the purple fabric here, you'll cut out 5 circles of the larger template so that you've got 5 circles. Okay, so when you've done that, you're going to place your smaller circle in the center like that, and then you're going to do a tacking stitch all around that edge. Okay, then you're going to pull that tacking stitch in, secure it, iron it, and take your template out, and you'll do that 5 times. I've got one here to show you. This is one that I've already done the tacking, pressed it, and taken the template out, and that's what it looks like on this side. So when you've done that, okay, you are going to cut out in your inner fabric, which is the inner one for what I call the cathedral window here. You're going to cut that fabric out, but in a square, and that'll be cut out in 5 3/4 inches. That's just for the size we're doing here. If you want to do different sizes, you've sort of got to do your maths yourself on that, or you can message me and I'll try and help you with it. So for all the inner fabrics, you're going to cut out 5 3/4 squares of that fabric and 5 3/4 squares of your wadding. Now the wadding I use is cheap as chips. I just use a curtain interlining. I don't know if you can sort of see that. I think they just use it in curtains, I think just to give them a lot more warmth, to keep the warmth in. So I use this curtain interlining, and you are going to have 5 squares with your pattern fabric sitting on top of your wadding. And then what you're going to do, making sure everything's ironed obviously, then what you're going to do is you're going to place this square in the middle of your circle, okay, and you're going to turn that over. Now for this size it's 1.1 inches, okay, And you're going to do that on all four squares, or on all four corners. So you have that. Can you see that? So you put that. Now you can either pin it or you can use fabric clips. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so you'll do that and then you'll measure on 1.1 inches from the center down to that curve there. Okay, now it's going to look a little bit gapy sort of up the top here, but don't worry about that at the moment. But you do need them to sort of butt up together like that. That's where these pins come in handy, because you can also put a pin on the corner just to hold it. Okay, so when you've done that, you can either use a thread that matches, and you can do sort of little invisible stitches like we do on the cathedral window. So you can do little hidden stitches that hold that down, that you can't see all the way around, and make sure that you just catch these corners here so that they're nicely butted up and neat. Or you can use an embroidery thread. Now I actually think this project looks lovely with an embroidery thread. So on this one I've picked out one of the bluey greens from this middle bit here, and I've stitched round. Can you see that? And you see how I've just done the top bit here, and I'll show you what it looks like at the back. Yeah, so try and keep it nice and neat. So that's what it can look like if you use embroidery thread. You can machine sew this. So you would start with your machine and you would go up and round and so on and so on. That's an option, but I think this is a really, really nice hand stitching job. Haven't had to use the machine on these at all. But if that's what you want to do and use a contrast thread, that's entirely up to you. But just be mindful that you catch that in, because the seam on that is quite small. So as long as you catch that seam in on there, it really doesn't matter how you do that. Okay, so when you've got 5 of these panels, because you do need 5 to make the box up, you are going to end up with something like this when you set it out. Now what I've done is, on here I haven't stitched this yet. What I've done is I've pinned it on just to show you how it looks when you lay it out. Okay, so this is the outside of the box, and the inside is round here because I've got one of these patterns on the inside. So when you put it together at the sides, it's going to look like so. Okay, and you just stitch up the sides, and you do that on the inside. So this is the inside out, so you'll stitch it, and I personally would use either a little ladder stitch or a running stitch, because you don't want all your stitching to show and you don't want it to pucker. So whatever works best for you, you do that and just stitch it together. Okay, and there you have your little storage box. So put it all the right way round, and there you have it. Okay, thank you for watching.